that the economic benefits are associated. We know what is going to be the outcome of the project. Now, there might be some other kind of cost that might come up. One of the primary assumptions of accounting is the matching concept. A construction contract is a contract specifically negotiated. One, when the asset is completely ready and reliably measured. So we know exactly, because their core business lies in construction and in contracts altogether. Good morning and welcome to the session 3 in unit 4 in IFRS, where we are going to talk about a very important topic called as the construction contracts, which is represented by the accounting standard AS11. So let's go further and try to understand what is this standard all about. The Indian Accounting Standard 11 prescribes the accounting treatment of revenue and cost associated with construction contracts. So this is typically trying to address about to those companies who are trying to understand and reveal their financial statements regarding to construction. So it might be about a land, or it might be about a building, a complex, a plant, machinery, whatever is the construction factor that is going on, the cost that is involved with that. The AS11 standard is going to speak about it. One of the primary assumptions of accounting is the matching concept. Now, most of us know that the matching concept is one among the primary 8 principles of accounting. Now, matching concept is where the revenue needs to match the cost. When I talk about the debit and credit should match at the end of the day. Under this concept, the revenue is matched with the cost and the period in which they are incurred. So that is a very, very fantastic thing for us to understand and to take forward. Whatever money that is going to be recognized, that is the revenue that is going to be recognized, is matched with the cost factor that is involved in terms of construction. So definitely under this concept, the revenue matching with that of cost is also going to be looked into. So this is a very, very important concept that we are going to speak about. Next, moving further, we're going to now talk about the scope of the standard. The scope of the standard shall be applied while accounting for construction contracts, financial statements of the contract that is going to come into picture, including the financial statements of real estate developers are usually aligned to this standard. This standard AS11 is typically for all those real estate companies and construction companies, because their core business lies in construction and in contracts altogether. So for example, if you look into companies like L&T, GMR, DLF, or when you start looking into Dilip Buildcon, Godrej Properties, Piramal Group, Prestige, Shobha, Mantri, all these kind of companies who are involved in constructions, let us first try to understand the scope of the standard. The scope of the standard is more related to the financial statements of the construction company. So when we talk about construction companies, typically like DLF, GMR, Shobha, Mantri, Prestige, or when we start talking about Godrej Properties, all these kind of people are involved in construction business because that is the core activity where they are involved. And now this standard is typically will try to address how they are trying to look into the revenue and cost factor, because for them the accounting standard, the way of looking at things is slightly different. It might not be the same thing here. They need to first understand the revenue that is going to be accumulated by building a particular flat or a mall or a theme park will be recognized with the cost factor that is involved in constructing it. So the scope is typically limited to the construction contracts, and this scope cannot be applied. I mean, the standard cannot be applied to some other accounting factors. Now, moving further, the key terms that are going to be understood here. A construction contract is a contract specifically negotiated. Now that is negotiated for construction of an asset or combination of assets that are closely interrelated or independent in terms of design, technology, function, ultimately used. So construction means that you are going to construct an asset. It might be a special economic zone, it might be a park, it might be a flat, it might be a group of flats, a villa, an office space, or a mall or a complex, which is interrelated. You can have multiple factors put together in single construction, or it might be a single independent unit which is going to be ultimately used by your customers or your clients. So this is a specific target oriented project where you have a design, you have a plan, you have an estimated cost factor for building this entire structure. So that is why I say that this is a negotiated contract. This is not something which is done at a blind faith. This is a negotiated contract. So you would have negotiated with your client on the terms of pricing, on the terms of cost, in terms of the time factor taken, and what are all the external factors, the documentation that is needed in terms of constructing. Second thing, it also includes agreements of real estate development to provide services together with construction material in order to perform the contractual obligation to deliver the real estate to the buyer. So you will have an agreement where you would have written the terms and conditions as in what are all is needed in terms of completing the project, and during the completion phase, what are all the steps that is going to be taken ultimately until you deliver the project to the hands of the buyer. So normally in a construction contract, there will be lot of terms and conditions. Like for example, it might be, a stage called a semi-finished stage, then it will come to a finished stage, then there might be a stage where the foundation is done. During the foundation, what are the terms and contract? During the semi-finished stage, what we are going to talk about. During the finished stage, that is the ultimate delivery stage, what we are going to talk about. So each and every stage will have certain terms and conditions which has to be addressed to the client very clearly, and the client in turn has to acknowledge all these factors, and they have to say very clearly that they have understood the terms, and then only the contract is signed and we start with the construction work, followed by the construction of a specific asset as stated in the definition of a building. Can be a bridge, it can be about a pipeline, it can be a theme park or anything. But then what is going to happen here is that the timeline, the frame of work, the scope of work will definitely differ from asset to asset. Now when you're going to build a single villa or when you're going to build a group of villas, the time frame, the scope and nature of work will differ. So all these factors are going to be told very, very clearly in terms of your key terms definition. Now, the contract revenue, how are we going to recognize the contract revenue? It comprises of initial amount of revenue that is agreed in the contract, variations in the contract work, claims, incentive payments to the extent that they may result in revenue. These need to be capable of reliably measured. Now, look into the terms, the words very, very clearly. Initially, when I signed the contract with the client, I will take a partial amount from the client as an advance payment. Now that advance payment which is received by the construction company will be recognized as a part of the revenue cycle. Now, as I keep proceeding my work, there might be change in terms of the work condition. There might be a delay, or there might be some extra need of materials, or there might be some other form of claims in terms of brokerage or some damage factors or some more external specifications that come up at the last moment. So the construction company will definitely put on these things to the client and say that time to time, there might be a cyclical variation in terms of the payment. So every time when the construction company is going to receive money from the client, the money is going to be immediately recognized towards the revenue cycle. That's how the revenue aspect of this company will be looked into. Followed by the contract cost. What is the contract cost? They will consist of, they relate directly to the specific contract to build this building. Let's say that the contract cost is 100 crores. So this is a direct cost which I'm telling towards the building. Can be attributable to activity and allocated to the contract. So there might be steps involved here. The first phase, it will be 20 crores, next will be 30, next will be 50. So I'm now trying to put it phase wise. I'm now trying to say based on the contractual activity, there will be a cost that is associated. So that cost has to be recognized by the client and he has to acknowledge the same so that the company can claim that cost towards them. Followed by such other costs are specifically chargeable to the customer under terms and condition. Now there might be some other kind of cost that might come up during the time of construction. So at that point of time, you have to raise up the factor. You have to say very clearly that yes, the contractual cost is telling you that there are some external factors, you need to pay so much. So at that time, you have to raise the contractual cost. So the company would say to the client that you had asked for some extra specification, extra design matter, or on project consulting, or some kind of maintenance charges. So as and when it goes as per the contract, there would be costs that will be incurred and the client has to pay for it. Followed by how the contract cost, that is that when I talk about the revenue and cost are being recognized. To recognize the cost and revenues of the contract for the purpose of accounting, it must be ensured that the outcome of construction contract can be estimated reliably. So first thing, they can be estimated reliably. The outcome of fixed price contract can be estimated reliably. When we can do it, total contract revenue can be measured readily or reliably. It is probable that the economic benefits associated with the contract will flow to the entity. Now what we are trying to do here is that as the construction gets over, now we have two factors here. We need to see the outcome of the construction contract and we need to also understand the economic benefit of the entity that is going to be done. So in two ways, you can recognize the cost and revenue factor. One, when the asset is completely ready and reliably measured. So we know exactly this is the construction cost, this is the delivery date, and this is the value of it. So it is readily available. So then we can estimate the cost immediately and it can be recognized in the book of account. The second thing is when you start estimating it from the economic benefit factor altogether. So you know that in future, the value that is associated with this building, the outcomes that are associated with this entity is clearly known. So automatically that would be also accounted for the revenue purpose or standards altogether. Followed by the contract cost to complete the contract and the stage of contract completion at the end of reporting period can be measured reliably. Let me just underline this word reliably. Why? Because at any given point of time, you will not be able to take things at your judgment. Please don't do that. Why? Because we need a reliable standard. You need to tell me exactly on what basis the accounting has been done. If it is not trustworthy, if the accounts are fugitive or if they are manipulative in nature, then we might not be able to get the true cost value there. So that is why we again and again stress upon the factor that it has to be reliable. The contractual document, the values, the measurements have to be completely reliable, transparent and ethical in nature. Then only the accounting standards can also be maintained. Followed by by the contract cost attributable shall be clearly identified. Yes, you need to identify, measure reliably so that the actual contract cost incurred can be compared with the prior estimate. Now, for companies like GMR or DLF, or when I'm going to talk about Godrej or Piramal, or when I'm going to talk about big companies like L&T, they have got hundreds and thousands of projects which they have completed in their ester years. So every time when they complete a project, they will have the estimate and they will try to compare this estimate with the similar kind of projects that they are going to do in the coming years. So when I try to understand this factor here, I make it a very, very clear point stating that this would stand as a benchmark for myself to estimate the project cost. So next time when I'm doing a project, I know that this is the project cost. Based on this, we will be able to take into the accounting standards. Followed by, in the case of cost plus contract. Now, cost plus contract, which means cost is included, the outcome of the construction contract can be estimated reliably under the following condition. First one, it is probable that the economic benefits are associated. We know what is going to be the outcome of the project. The contract costs are attributable and a specific reimbursement can be done. That is, it can be measured immediately and we know that the outcome is going to come out immediately. So that is where when you know the economic benefit and when you know specifically what is going to come out of that construction, what is going to be recognized out of that project automatically, then we can immediately go and recognize the cost and revenue factor. Followed by, what should be an entity disclose with respect to a contract? The entity must disclose the revenue recognized during the period. So as a company, I should first of all disclose transparently what money I have made out of that contract. Number two, the method. In what methodology, what kind of accounting standard I have used in order to recognize the revenue. So I need to tell the people, the public, the investors, the board very clearly what is the methodology that I have followed in accounting standards to arrive at the revenue and cost recognition. Followed by, the methods determine the stage of completion of the contract. So at every stage, how am I taking it and how does the stage of completion of contract happen? So these are the factors that you need to discuss in terms of the disclosure of the contract. With this, I come to the end of the session. I hope and believe that the session was highly informative and of a great resource to you. In the upcoming sessions, we will be talking more about the revenue and the revenue standards. Until then, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay enlightened forever. Thank you once again for joining me today on this wonderful session.